What's up, guys? Today we're going to look at combining some elements of movement together. We've done a lot of just individual joint work up to this point. Now we're going to put those kind of segmented movements together into kind of a more sequential order to connect these movements, and that's what kinesiologists, which is what I am, call a kinetic chain. They're also referred to as slings or movement systems or whatever you want to call it. But it's just the combining of your gait patterns and different things into a sequential order, so that way they move seamlessly together. Okay, so we're going to look at that today. We're going to look at weight shifting. We're going to look at combining our breath in with kind of our pelvic region, low back, neck, shoulders, and we're just going to try to put it all together. So let's go ahead and start off. Close your eyes. Let's take inventory. Take a deep breath in and out. And we want you just to breathe in deep. Remember, you're breathing into the bottom, up, through the nose, and then breathing out from the top down. And as we do this, we're going to check in with our sensory input. So we're going to look at the 5 senses. We're going to check in with our smell, just kind of locking into the present moment. So take a deep breath in and just notice what you smell. As you breathe out, notice what you taste. Okay, notice that those two senses are actually paired. Okay, so usually what you smell, it influences what you taste, and vice versa. Okay, now you're going to notice what you're feeling. So notice the temperature. Notice how your clothes are fitting. Notice if you can have a difference between, you can notice the material on your body, if there's a difference between your shirt and your pants. You can notice even the tension of the material on your body. Is it tighter in certain areas? If you're standing, notice how your feet are interacting with the ground. Are we feeling our weight more distributed on the inside or the outside, on the front or the back? Okay. Close your eyes and just notice how you can see the light through your eyes. Notice the magnitude of the light in the room. Notice what you're hearing. Is there background noise? As I'm sitting here, I can hear the coo of a bird. I can hear an occasional car drive by, people in the house, downstairs. So just getting present, and then we'll go into our thoughts and emotions. And just notice, is there anything that's popping up that's pressing issues in your thought life? Just kind of let it pass through. Just take inventory. Then we're going to take a deep squat today, and we're going to take inventory into our hips, our low back. Those are kind of going to be the focus of today. And so just kind of sit here and see how it feels when you go down, when you come up. Okay. And just close your eyes and keep that breathing frequency. And just set that as your practice. Breathing in through your nose, out through your mouth. Big deep breath in and out. Okay. As you're going through this movement flow today, check in with your emotions as well. If it stimulates a painful memory or trigger, go back to the exercises we did at the prior programs with the somatic work, the inner healing stuff. That's very important for your movement practice to also address and heal previous trauma. Okay, so now we're going to go into neutral stance. Okay, we're going to have soft knees. Okay, we're going to just start to spiral our pelvis from one side to the other. Okay, and notice how I'm even starting to dip my knee. So it's a spiral, dip, spiral, dip. Okay, we're going to start to sync our breathing pattern, our diaphragm, in with this particular gait pattern. Okay, so as I'm breathing, I'm going to breathe out as I spiral and sink. As I come up, passive inhale, active exhale. So it's spiral, sink, spiral, sink. Exhale, 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 inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. So keep that up. I'm going to look at your guys' movement here, see how everybody's looking. Look at the view here. You guys are looking great. Let's keep those hands on the hips so that way you just get another feedback. Some of you guys, there you go. Good. So sink into that opposite leg, really sink. Some of you guys are just swaying back and forth. I want you to spiral and then sink, okay? And as you sink, you're sinking that breath up with the dip, okay? So the exhalation is on the sinking, the inhalation is passive. You're just gonna let it come in and then flow out. Come in and flow out. Good job, guys. So this is really important. Make sure, there we go. We got the dip. You guys are looking great. All right. So the next thing we're looking at is our squat in with our breathing patterns, okay? And we're gonna even add in a little bit of emphasis on adding in some more movement into the squat to build it around into that deep squat. So we're going to lift our arms high to the ceiling, and then we're just gonna drop down. And as we drop down, we're going to breathe out, okay? In, lead with the wrist, out. And as we do this, just gonna accentuate the shock. So it comes up, breathe in, reach, reach, reach. Come up to those toes, breathe out, shock. So do that a couple reps. Let me look at you guys here. Good, so breathe in, shock, breathe out, good. That looks great, guys. I'm just checking everybody's form here. So lift those arms, make sure we're leading with the wrist, guys. Active exhalation as the arms come down, okay? Reach the arms. So whenever you're at the bottom, reach the arms back like this. So come back to help with that coil, and then you're coming back up with that active inhalation. Good. That looks good, guys. All right. Make sure you guys are rising to the ball of the foot, okay? With the lift to the sky, okay? So that's the top part of that movement. Good job, guys. There you go. Okay. So return, some of you guys are staying on the ball of your foot. Return to the flat part of your foot whenever you come down. Ball of the foot, flat and down. Throw those arms down. Feel the shock. Feel how that releases your breath, okay? And then transmit that energy back up. Good. All right. So keep it up, guys. Also, one thing, so I want us to be active in our core at the bottom part right here. So imagine we got a corset around our core and it's tight at the bottom, okay? I'm lifting up through this pelvis floor and I'm kind of scooping my pelvic under right here. So coming up, releasing that. And I feel that activation of the pelvic floor come up and that bottom position, okay? So keep going, and you're gonna release that activation as you come up and out of it. Good, you guys are looking great. That's what I want, that relationship between the exhalation and the inhalation with the pelvic floor and the diaphragm, okay? Inhale up to the sky, exhale, and I squeeze that forward. Inhale, exhale. So it's almost like a zipping up or stopping, like if you're using the restroom, it's stopping the flow of the urine, that muscle, that's what you're working on in this sequence, okay? Good job. All right, so next thing we're gonna work on is our adding in some squats into this. So you're gonna come up, breathe in, come down, lower to the ground, up, down. Good, so let's get those, start to work those deep squats in there. Check everybody's form. Good. So add that hip hinge, guys. Remember that hip hinge we worked on with the lumbar spine. Add that in there. Really use those hips to lower yourself down. Reach the arms back and the next. Yep, so when you get down, bring the fingers even to the floor. Touch the floor, guys. All right. So next thing we're gonna do is add a little bit of midline core work. Okay, so we're gonna come down, and we're even gonna go into chair pose today and work some of that. So come up, hip hinge down, touch, bring your feet together, hands to the knees, press up, hands.
Hey, Cameron,
Rotate. Yep.
could you ask if everybody can mute? Because we can't see you. It's showing
Oh,
somebody else when you're talking, or you can pin yourself.
yeah, I have myself pinned, but I don't know why it's going back and forth. All right, let's go ahead and everybody make sure you're muted. I'll also mute everybody. There we go. All right, thanks for letting me know that, Maggie. Okay, so we're gonna add in a twist, and we're going to just come up, hands to the ceiling, on the ball of the foot. Put all that work together, down to the ground, bring my feet in, hands to my knee, assist the upward motion, hands together, rotate, back to center, step out and up, down, slide it over to the other side, hands to the knees, press up, hands together, rotational twist, back, step out. Okay, so we check your guys' form real quick as we do this. Give you guys a couple more tips. Good. Looking good. So remember to come back to that neutral stance. Lift those arms to the sky. Okay. As you come up, expand through that rib cage, guys. Breathe east to west. So as you're at the top position, breathe in deep, open up those ribs and breathe into them. When you come down, reach those arms back to get that elastic energy in the shoulders going. Then you want to translate that. Good. All right. So the last thing we're going to add on this is we're going to come up, down, swing through, hands to the floor, over. Then you're going to use that posterior chain to lift up. So no more arms. Rotate through, back to neutral. Breathe in. Fill up those ribs. Exhale. Tighten through that corset. Down. switch, up, rotate. All right. Let's see here. So yeah, lift up to the sky. Good. Down, way to go. Slide through, good. Hands, use that posterior core to bring those hands up. So guys, whenever we're coming off of the ground, I don't want to see this. I want to see like this, and then you're coming up like that. I want to see that chest, and I want to see this back, that core, that posterior chain. Lift up, rotate out, and then slide, or then slide out back to the top. All right. Good. You guys are doing awesome. So be very conscious of your low back. We are working a lot in the back and the hips on this, trying to pair our breathing. And so you got to maintain that core tightness when you're in the bottom position with that core set zipped up. Okay, a lot of you guys have low back problems because we're not aware of our breath, our diaphragm paired in with our lower posterior chain. That's what we're working on today. Okay, so next thing we're gonna work on is some grapevine squats. So some curtsy squats, all right? So now we're gonna put it all together. So it's gonna look like this. We're gonna come out to the side, press that heel, that back heel into the ground. You're going to squeeze our hips together and we're gonna squat down, okay? We're gonna come back up. Let's get a couple reps like this, side to side. And we're gonna extend through that back heel, okay? Extend through, squeeze the adductors together and activate my adductors here. Curtsy squat, back up, squeeze through there. Remember, we're keeping that core tight and active. And it's just that pairing, it's that dip. Breathe out, come in, active inhale on the way up. Okay. Just give me a couple reps like that. And look at you guys here, make sure everybody's doing well. All right. So keep that up. Great job. Make sure to put that heel active to the ground. The knee moves into the inner ankle whenever we come down, okay? So that medial malleolus is what we call it. There you go. Whenever you're coming out of the bottom position, guys, some of you guys need to squat a little bit deeper in that curtsy squat. Okay, and then your leg driving out. There you go. Now leg drive out. There you go. Push through those legs. And whenever you're dropping down, that knee moves inward, okay? So whenever I'm dropping down right here, this inside knee moves a little bit inward, okay? And I'm leg driving out, squeezing my thighs together right here, really zipping up that core. Good. Keep it up, guys. Y'all are looking awesome. Okay. Extend those legs. So remember, counter rotate coil. So you come down and then you basically reverse it all back up. Okay. Okay. There you go, guys. Good job. I know it burns a little bit, but make sure we got a lot of things. So face perpendicular to the camera. Keep your chest kind of face towards the camera. Good. Don't turn your chest away. It's your hips and your legs that are turning away. Keep your chest. There you go. So you got to reach that leg back. Push that heel into the ground. Curtsy squat, leg drive up. Keeping that core zipped up. Don't let it go. Don't let your low back go into posterior tilt. Keep it anteriorly tilted. Okay. Good. All right. So the last thing that we're going to do is going to kind of use some of that elastic energy to work the lumbar spine a little bit more. So we're going to come down, leg drive. So we come over, drive that heel down, zip up, drop down, come up, step through. One hand comes to the back of the skull. Remember, we work this. The other hand comes to the belly button, and we're lifting this elbow up and through, and then you're coming back down, switching sides. So that elbow comes up into the ceiling and you're just kind of using that elastic recoil. Okay, so let's work this a couple reps. Always coming back. Hand right below the navel on the bottom, the other hand right at the base of the skull. Lift up and through, back down. Okay, let me look at you guys real quick. Great. So lifting that arm, that elbow, drive it up to the ceiling. Good. Spiral the arm. Reach with the elbow, guys. There we go. And guys, the last progression is to take your bottom hand and put it behind your back if you want to try to get a little bit deeper stretch in that lumbar. There you go. So use that energy to recoil up and through, breathe in, down and over, out. Up and through, breathe in, down and over, out. Okay, so sync that. We got a lot of steps here, but just try to slowly pair them all together. Okay, this is also called neural pairing is what we call it, or some people call it. All right, so keep that up. Give me a couple more reps. Good. All right, so the next thing we're gonna look at today is movement class 4B. All right, so let me pull this up real quick. Let's go ahead and start on our back, lying down. We're gonna take a couple breaths into our diaphragm. So right here, low back pressed in, close your eyes, get that low back into the ground, squeeze through those glutes if you can. It's like I said I posted before, this is, you can use your lower abs as well to get your hips into posterior tilt, okay? So remember that. So let's see here. So deep breath into the diaphragm. Keep those ribs pulled down as we breathe out. We're contracting. We're going to start to squeeze through that low pelvic region and zip up that corset, right? And then you're going to breathe back into it. Good job. All right, let's go ahead and sit up. Remember that breathing pattern as we go through this next sequence, okay? I'm gonna sit right here. You can sit underneath a pillow or something if this is hurting your hips. Otherwise, sit Indian style, okay? Deep breath in, and then you're going to arch that low back. As we breathe out, we round. Okay, seated, anterior, posteriorly tilting, okay? So learning how to now engage our pelvic tilts in various positions, okay? So having awareness of the eccentric loading and concentric loading of our posterior anterior chain and our core and various positions, very important for getting over any tightness or injuries in the low back. All right, next thing we got is forceful inhales and exhales. So just training the volume of the diaphragm. How fast and deep can we breathe in, and how quick and deep can we breathe out? So it's more like this. So you notice how whenever I breathe in, I come up, just like we worked on in the squat. As I breathe out, I kind of sit down, sink down a little bit. So match that up. So I'm really working that volume here as I do that. So let me watch you guys. It's going to make you a little bit lightheaded because we are siphoning tons of oxygen through our system, okay? That's normal. It's also an energizing mechanism, all right? So keep it up. Good. So up and down, out, up and down, out. Quick, 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 quick. Can I get more? Can I get it in faster, out faster? Can I get more in? Can I get more out? After just a little bit more each breath. Okay. There we go, guys. Working that diaphragm. I know it's hard, but it's good. Let's keep it up. All right. So next thing we got, scapular rotations, part 1. We're in anterior tilt. I don't want to see you guys doing this posterior tilt. Anterior tilt of the pelvis, reaching actively away from the midline. Hand is about 15 degrees forward to properly engage the scapula. Rotate under, scoop that blade through the armpit, hold 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, release, up and over. Fill your blade if you want. You can put your hand on this blade. I want the shoulder blade leading the movement, not the rotator cuff. We're not in our delts. We're in our scapula. That's the motion. It should even feel a little fatigued. It should get a little sore in your blade. Those shoulder muscles, that infraspinatus, that teres minor and major, all those little bitty stabilizing muscles. We want to train those and get out of our rotator cuff, our big delts, our biceps, all those areas, okay? So reaching, scooping, holding, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, coming back and over. Feeling that shoulder blade go through the full range of motion. Let me see you guys here. Great. Actively reaching away. Make sure that your shoulders are down, guys. Some people are popping their shoulders up. I want to see that shoulder blade down, depressed. Right there. Okay. Good. Also, keep your hand in line with your shoulder. I don't want to see your hand down like this. Some people are like this. Make sure your hand, if I'm looking out, if I'm looking like this, right here, my hand is not down. It's right in line with that shoulder. You see that? As I go through. There you go. Good adjustment, guys. Okay, that 5-second hold. Let's go ahead and switch sides. We're going to try to get 10 on the other side. Okay, with a 5-second hold each side. So right here, reaching out. Sorry, I'll switch it over. So reach, hand 15 degrees, posterior tilt of the pelvis, reaching up high to the ceiling, and then engaging that shoulder blade. Okay, flossing it out, holding 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, up and over, back down and through. So I want to feel that shoulder blade go through full elevation and rotation, depression and rotation. But in the depression rotation, we're going to hold it a little bit longer, a 5-second hold. Okay, keep it up, reaching out. So I'm not just passive with this hand. This hand is actively reaching. That helps me to get full contraction of those muscles that control your shoulder blade. And glide it. Make sure our hand is in alignment. Okay, it's a little bit forward, but it's not down. Okay, it's right there. 3, 4, 5, up and over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up and over. Okay, and look at you guys here. Great job, guys. Feel that shoulder blade stretch. So when you're reaching, you turn and you really get it, you're gonna feel a nice stretch, and you're gonna feel almost like those muscles. There are some muscles that might have been tight that get pressed down through the motion. That's gonna feel relaxing. It's gonna release those tight adhesions that sometimes build up in our shoulders. And that's gonna help this chain right here, the wrist, finger, hands, elbow unit. That's gonna help a lot there, okay? So keep it up. You guys are looking great. I like that you guys are really keeping those hands in alignment. Don't relax the reach. Remember, some of you guys are kind of bending at the elbow right here. Reach it out, lock it out. Imagine, like whenever I'm in session and with some of my clients, I actually pull their arm almost out of socket so they really feel the exaggeration of that pull. Okay, it's good for it. All right, next thing we got is we're working on depression and elevation of the shoulder blade in conjunction with loading it, okay? So we're gonna come into this bent sit. So anytime you're in bent sit, this is it, right here. Long active core, my low back is extended. I don't wanna see it rounded like this, okay? Extended, sternum is reaching to the ceiling, and my hands are out shooting 45-degree angle, okay? And I'm gonna actively push through the ground, okay? And I'm gonna hold, let those shoulder blades roll under. So let's go into, let's make this a little bit even, break it down further. Let's go into scapular rotation 1, down to bent sit, pressing up and away from the ground. I'm gonna hold it, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then drop. And you can go into posterior tilt of the whole spine. Come back into extension, reaching the sternum up and through. Down and relax, okay? So we look at everybody here. Drive that sternum, feel those shoulder blades. Whenever I'm in that top position, I want to feel these shoulder blades connect in with the ribs right here. So it's scooping up and under. That shoulder blade is coming down and around through my armpit. And I'm pushing the sternum to the ceiling. And then I'm coming down and out of it, pushing through. Okay, so a progression to this. You can grab a chair, you can grab yoga blocks, something that you can put your hands underneath you to lift your butt up. So that way you get a load onto those shoulders, but ease into it. So if right now the floor, you're getting enough work with the floor, then just stay there. If you want to make it harder, I can even go to the couch like this. So right here, I can come to the couch, scoot my butt off, drop down, push up and through. What I don't want to see is as I come up and through, I don't want to see my arms. It's not a dip. It's a shoulder movement, okay? So let me show you from the side right here. Side view. I can come push up and away, step through, drive, dip down. See how my elbows stay fixed? I don't want to see my elbows bend like this. So push that sternum up and through, down and away. Good. Keep it up, guys. All right. So, yep, you can even lift your butt up, but make sure you're mainly working your shoulders. So some of you guys are lifting all the way off the ground like this. Watch me. You're going like this. And you're doing a great job of keeping that extended, but then you're starting to lift through your hips. Okay? If you're going to do that, that's fine. We can go all the way up with it. That's another progression. But calm down and then relax out of it, to reset. So like when you're working that elevation and depression. Okay. Should feel those shoulders. And even a nice kind of stretch through this bicep. These elbows are active here. I'm rotating, reaching this radius and ulnar, and rotation, this elbow pit's facing out. All right, so that's enough of that. Let's move on. We got front rocking for spine, okay? Let's work those progressions. So depending on your core and how mobile and active it is, we're gonna work different ranges of motion. So the first one is just coming back up to anterior tilt of the pelvis. Add in a thoracic rotation, the top, and then posterior rotate, slowly lower down one vertebrae at a time until I feel like my feet are going to come up. And then I'm coming back into anterior tilt, side reach, side reach. So you guys with lower back pain, be very sensitive with this, okay? So that's one version of the front rock, okay? The other version is all the way down, hands down, lifting up, pressing. Can I lift my L5 off the ground? Can I take it up to my L4? Can I slowly start to lift more and more vertebrae off the ground? How far can I get over? And then how slow can I bring each vertebrae back to the ground? So that's another way to train your core, okay? Once you have those elements down, put it all together and use that elastic energy that we worked on in the squat breath work. So arms back, throw it through. Make sure to keep that distance between my chest and my knees. I don't want to drop. When I come back, I don't want to go like this and bring my, that's breaking the kinetic chain. We want to keep it in unison. See how slow we can go through. Make sure that you have a padded surface. So this rug is actually not very padded, so I can kind of hurt my back if I go too hard on this, okay? So slow it down. Make sure you work and have good control of that core. Okay, so that's front rocking for spine. Side bend sit level 1. On this week, we're working that shoulder depression with internal hip rotation, internal external rotation of the hips. So I'm keeping that shoulder depression that we worked on in the first circuit with the internal external rotation of the hips. I'm using my feet as a fulcrum. So I'm not walking my feet to get my knees over like this and then walking back. My feet are fixed, side, shift, side, shift, right there. Okay, how far?
Can I ask a question, Cameron?
Yeah.
Do you want us to keep both butt cheeks on the ground, or is it okay if one lifts when you're tilting?
It really, yes and no. It depends on what you're going for. So if you're going for a deeper stretch in both hips, if lifting your butt helps you get that, then go for it. If lifting your butt releases the tension off of that opposite knee right here, just so I can get more tension on this, then no, right? So it just depends on what your goal is. Like the goal here is mainly just to try to get some work in these hips. And almost like you're starting off slow, kind of coating them up with synovial fluid, getting some awareness of this, this rotation of the hip, and then slowly building strength into range of motion. Does that make sense? So next thing we got is foot placement work, okay? So we're working on gait mechanics. Let's look at working on our feet, okay? So I made a short video for this, but I'm gonna go into more depth since we're in this class. So the foot moves in many ways. We'll try to go through a flow at the end of class and try to add in several different components of foot placement. The first round, we're just going to work on gait mechanics of the walking strike, okay? So in a slow walk, it's just a heel, outside, pinky toe to big toe, and back around, okay? And I've made some videos about foot mobility and stuff that you might have already watched. But I'll go into this either in prior classes, you might have already watched it. We're also later on going to go into even more depth in foot mechanics, okay? So just remember, heel strike, outside of the foot, pinky to the big toe, and back. So that's one of your tools for foot placement work, okay? Foot mobility, whatever you want to call it, footwork, okay? If you have ankle injuries or whatever, start off by, you know, the further you go out, the more intense this is going to be, okay? So I know some of you guys might have some foot issues, so be very gentle with it. Slowly load that weight. Let's go and switch sides. Slowly load that weight and remember the rules of pain. So don't load past on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being no pain or tension, 10 being excruciating. Don't go past a 3 when you're loading. So each round you can start to calibrate what your body can handle in this position with maybe the state of your structure, okay? So that's one thing you can work on foot placement. All right, next thing we're gonna work on is throwing and catching at an angle. So now I know most of us don't have a partner. I don't have one. You guys probably don't have one. So we can just grab a pillow, grab some weights, grab a ball or a blanket if you have it, just something to simulate like a rock or a sandbag, something you might use in nature in real life that you have to catch. So we train throwing at different angles just for life purposes. Throwing and catching is a part of life and a natural occurring thing. We want to be able to get our body into proper positions and to take all these principles we're learning and apply them to practical things of life so that we protect our mechanism and make sure we don't get injured, okay? So throwing and catching at an angle. So if you had a partner, they would throw to you, you would shuffle out, catch, remember the mechanics of the squat, bring that pillow in, shuffle, push it out, come back to center, okay? The way it's gonna look without a partner is we're just going to push out, shuffle back, come back, shuffle, push out, come back, shuffle. So it's just a little bit of work right here. I'll show you from the side, push out, come back, shuffle, out, back. So whenever I'm coming out, I'm driving off of this inside leg, so leg drive out. Receive the object with your core. So when the object comes at you, right here, I'm absorbing it with my core. I'm absorbing it with my legs and my arms. I'm not letting the thing hit me in my chest. I'm not catching it without absorbing, okay? A lot of people, they don't know how to catch very well. And so they catch it and they're stiff, okay? That causes injury to your joints, to your ligaments. You want to absorb, okay? So let's just practice. Out and shuffle, out and shuffle, out and shuffle. So when we come in, it's like we're catching. So we're gonna bring it in and absorb with all of our elastic energy so that way it doesn't damage our wrist, elbows, or shoulder, or our knees or ankles, okay? So another thing we could do is if you have a wall, you could kind of rebound it out to you right here. See how I did that? Just kind of coming out and bringing it in. So medicine balls, stuff like that is really helpful. I can even use a pillow. So I'm just, boom, boom, shuffle, boom, go get it. Okay, this is also good for conditioning and developing power and stuff, is which after the age of 30, we start to lose power at 1.5% every year. So it's good to keep our power up. Otherwise, we lose that. We lose a lot of potential for, getting out of tough situations fast. Just there's a whole array of things that you need to be equipped with power for. So, all right. So the last part, the next 5 minutes, we'll go into a quick flow. I'll call out the movements and demonstrate them. We'll try to flow from one movement to the other as gracefully as quickly as possible. And over time, we'll start to incorporate harder, more difficult movements in these flows. So that way you get real life scenarios of maybe a sequence of things that could happen and you need to be prepared for, with incorporating all the kinetic work we've been working, joint work we have been working into our daily movement flows, okay? So kind of like a jam, all right, for you parkour people. Okay, so let's go. Front rocking for spine, find your level, get a couple reps there. Say we fell down, we got to protect our core, come back up, get a little bit of work in that thoracic. Again, you know what level you're at. If this is not an option for you because of an injury, go to the other two progressions. A third progression is just staying right here and holding it, bringing my knees actively in and then pushing my hands actively towards this. I'm pushing actively towards this couch, okay? That's another version of the front rock that you can work on. All right, let's come up to side bent sit with rotation. Okay, so get a couple reps there. Come on up to foot placement. So next thing we're going to work on with foot placement is big toe down to the pinky toe, outside of the foot, lift up onto the heel and back through. Start to load that weight. Then switch sides. Other side, big toe to the pinky toe, outside for the heel. Good job. Let's grab that object. Start to do our side shuffles. So I'm going to turn and use my pillow up against the wall. I'm just going to go get it. Going to shuffle, push through. If you don't have a wall, just go right here. Out and shuffle, out and shuffle, out and shuffle, out and shuffle. When I come in back to the center, so say I start at this picture behind me, I drive off the inside leg, shuffle, push out and in. When I come back, I drive off the opposite leg, and then I pull that leg back in. So I'm using those adductors, using the abductors and adductors. Okay. So I'll show you from the side, out and back, out and back. All right. So back to the front rock. Let's go. Couple reps here. Flow from one to the next. All right, hop up. foot placement, side to side. Let's add just like a couple inversion eversions here. And let's add in from the very beginning of class, let's add in that spiral dip with the inversion eversion. So I'm rolling, whenever I spiral and dip, I'm rolling my feet to this side. Now we're going to switch. Match up that breathing. Okay, so we got a lot of different applications for the foot. Great job. Back down, side bend sit, level 2. Be active with those shoulders, side to side rotation of the hip, internal external rotation of the hip. Get that good stretch in there. Job. Let's go. Last round, throwing and catching. Grab your weight, grab your pillow, grab whatever you have. Even if you don't have anything, you can just do it without anything, okay? It's just all about absorbing, recoiling, back, absorbing, recoiling, making sure, you know, I've seen people get injuries where somebody's thrown them something and they didn't know how to catch and they caught it out of position like this and threw their back out, okay? It's about getting underneath and catching it with your core behind the object, all right? All right, let's come back to the starting position. We're going to, let's just go into a deep squat. See how it feels. Check in with that core. Notice if there's any differences in our hips. Can we get a little bit more range of motion in there as we go down? Drive back up, close your eyes. Deep breath in and out. All right. How you guys feeling?